YouTube, what's going on? My name is Argon. Welcome back to some Fortnite informational, instructional, and conversational type content. Today I want to review for you guys in depth all the changes that occurred recently with the new patch, with the new season related to the footstep audio and the glider audio that they've made, that they want to think that this is going to make this a little bit easier for you to tell where people are at, where people are coming from, and possibly where people are going. But before I do that, guys, of course, I'm going to remind everybody we do run a giveaway on this channel where we do give away V-Bucks at the end of every month to the most active user. The way that you enter into that is to make sure you are subscribed, turn on notifications, stay active in the channel chat, and basically the comments. Make sure you follow me on social media. Anytime I recognize your name, the more likely I am to give you some V-Bucks. We do this every single month, guys, and there's always going to be a winner. So make sure you enter, and good luck. Now, if I want to just go over the patch notes real quick, guys, basically in the audio section of the most recent patch notes, they said they changed the processing of footsteps to add more contrast between above and below steps. Below steps now sound more echoey, like they're coming from a basement. Footsteps will decrease in pitch the further they are away from you, and they increase in pitch the higher they are above you. The volume of footsteps blocked by terrain, buildings, or player-built structures has been increased slightly. Find more information on footsteps, so if you click on the link here and go more into detail about what are the changes in the footstep sounds. So they said they've added more contrast between above and below, like they said previously. We want this to be easier to determine on the fly, especially while other players are, sounds are going on in the game, like gunfire and harvesting. The more high frequency audio content to improve your ability to pinpoint the location of steps and to prevent them from getting drowned out during intense combat. Also, glider audio tells increased awareness when an enemy is gliding in your vicinity. Doppler based glider audio for incoming threats. We'll get into this in a second. Of course, improved spatialization of both skydiving and gliding players, and the ability to hear the open and closing sounds of gliders from further away. They also have some notes here about what they're going to be adding during Season 6. A system to add audio tells for in-air movement options like falling, bouncers, shockwave, grenades. Essentially, they want to make it so that when someone's flying through the air from various sources, either with a grappler, or they're bouncing towards you, or they're just falling or jumping or whatever it is, that you're going to be able to tell that they're actually moving throughout the air, because right now when somebody jumps, you can't hear them anymore. It's kind of a good way to sneak around, besides crouching, of course. So they want to make it so that when someone's moving through the air, you can actually hear them, guys. But we're not going to talk about that because that has not been implemented yet. I'm going to discuss the two basic things that are going on here, the above and below footsteps and the glider changes. Of course, we are going to cover this with some testing. That's what we always do here. So I went into playground mode, and I have basically set up this 6-level structure for you guys that you can see. And what I'm going to do is basically stand in the middle of this structure, and then I'm going to take another character. I'm going to run around each floor above and below so that you can hear what the sound difference is. I'm going to run this through once, basically for just so you could tell a couple of floors if you can see and tell the difference, basically. And then I'm going to go through it again, and I'm going to go and actually show you where that character is while they're running, so you can see if your ability to detect where this person is above or below you actually works, and how high and how far below you they are. And then you can also compare that with where they actually are and see how well this system actually works. This is going to be a little bit of a longer section, guys, so I'm going to make sure I throw the timestamp on there, so if you do feel like skipping, or when you are ready to start skipping, you can actually go ahead and skip through the rest of the video. I don't want to make you sit here and just kind of guess how long this is going to take, but take a listen. So the next thing that we want to talk about, guys, is the gliders and how they've made changes to these sounds. The biggest one is the Doppler effect that they've discussed. Now, if the Doppler effect, if you guys are not familiar, is a science term, basically has to do with the changes in frequency of a wavelength of sound waves based on the relative motion of an object. So when something's moving, if it's emitting a sound, it's basically moving forward. The sound waves in front of it are going to get compressed a little bit because the object is moving, especially if these are low frequency sounds to the point where the wavelength speed is relatively close to the same speed as the person that's moving or the thing that's moving. So it's going to compress the wavelengths in front of it, and it's going to basically stretch out the wavelengths behind it. The effect that this has on you, if you're standing on the side listening, as it passes by you, the sound waves in front of it will sound to be higher frequency, and the sound waves behind it will sound to be lower frequency, when in reality they're the same frequency from their source. The biggest and easiest way to understand this is if a ambulance or a fire truck has ever passed you with its sirens on. You basically hear it one way as it's coming closer to you, and as it passes you, you can definitely hear a sound difference. Once this passes you, that's essentially the Doppler effect in real life. It's just always easier to describe it that way, but if you wanted to know the real science, that's what's going on. So this is what's going on in Fortnite now as well. As somebody who's flying or gliding past you approaches you, you should be able to hear a difference once they go past you. That's what they've done. Here's some testing to show you what that's like so you can tell for yourself. The other thing they've added, like they mentioned in the patch notes, is they've increased the awareness. When an enemy is gliding to you, besides the Doppler effect, they've also improved the spatialization of both skydiving and gliding players. I believe this means like if you have surround sound or something like that, you can try and tell where they are in the area around you, and it doesn't just sound like it's coming from everywhere. And of course, the ability to hear the open and closed sound of gliders from further away. Now, I didn't really test this too well. I didn't go from various distances because I just didn't. But it is actually, you can hear this from pretty far distance away. I think it's a little bit too far, to be honest. I don't think you should be able to hear somebody from that far away. But one very last thing that I want to cover, guys, is how long does it take before the footsteps completely go away? This is going back to the issue of above and below footsteps. Now, I went back to that same structure, went to the first floor, and with my other character, I just kept going higher and higher and higher. I wanted to see how many stories up I could go before the person could no longer be heard. And essentially, guys, there's not a building in Fortnite that if they're in the building with you, you won't be able to hear their footsteps. I think it's about 7 stories up, and that's when you finally hear them drowned out. I believe the Trump Tower building in Tilted Towers, it's about 7 floors. So basically, if someone's on the first floor, if you're on the first floor and someone's on the top floor or vice versa, you're still going to hear their footsteps faintly. I think that's a little bit crazy. I wish it wasn't this OP, because it would be nice when I hear someone's footsteps, I know that they're only 2 floors around me, not 7. That's my opinion, but here are the results. Here's something for you guys to take a look at. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. That's all the results that we have so far for this update so far. Of course, when they update more stuff during the season, I'll be sure to cover it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I kind of gave you my opinion before. My opinion overall is I don't know how well they've done with the above and below differential. They've definitely made a difference between same floor and different floor. I think that's good. The glider thing, I don't know. I think you can hear them from too far away. I don't know. Yeah, it's just different for me, so I'm not sure how I feel too much about it. But overall, I'm glad to see that they are trying to make changes, because these are definitely things that need to occur. I do wish they would drown out the volume a little bit sooner when you're 3 floors up instead of 7. But that's just my opinion. I don't want to know every single person that's in the building, because it's just going to throw off my awareness, mostly because you really can't make it possible to have that big of a differential between 7 floors up and 1 floor up. That's just, to be able to tell the differences in those type of audio cues, it's gonna be really difficult, guys, especially in game. I don't really care for that. I wish it was a little bit less. 1, 2, 3 floors, that's it. That way you have a really loud, a little bit loud, and almost not audible at all. And if I don't really need to see somebody 4 floors above me, it's rarely gonna happen. Either way, that's all there is to it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe. And if you're not following me on social media, those links are down in the description below. And as always, guys, my name is Argon, and may you never die to a bush. Peace.